I always knew that I wanted to be a dad, but I didn't necessarily want to be a dad in my 20s or 30s. And so by the time that I hit 45, I was like, something's missing. And I just knew that it was time to be a dad. So that's where science and nature come in. And then I got with him and said, hey, I know we've talked about this since we got together 16 years ago, but
Been back and forth about it, actually.
Yeah.
So we thought about it, then we didn't, and then we kind of like, okay, readdress it, relook at it, reevaluate it.
Yeah, the timing was never totally right. But then it was like, went to a therapist and she was like, I don't understand why you're thinking that your glass is half empty. You are not biologically able to carry a child. Somebody else has to do it for you. You can have a baby at 57 if you wanted. And I was like, she's right. It's really not that insane to have a baby in your mid-40s as a guy or as a woman. And we just started talking about it more seriously, and now we're weeks away from an actual person existing with our biological makeup. So that's a thing now.
Yeah.
If we were asked together how we chose our surrogate, we would say we didn't. Our surrogate chose us, which we think is the best way to do it. I can't imagine choosing a surrogate. Like, okay, we'll let you give up your body for us to carry our child. It should be the other way around.
But we did talk about how the one big factor is we did want to have a surrogate that we could have a relationship with.
Yeah, we wanted them in the line.
Especially one, we knew if it wasn't going to be local, distance is hard enough, and then not having somebody that you can like feel connected to or, like I said, have a relationship with, that would feel even more distant. And then that's when it feels like they're just a service instead of like a part of the family.
I'm number 3 out of 4 kids in my family, and both of my sisters have multiple children, and they all, and in their families, they all have like aunts and uncles who are not related to me. They're outlaws, so they're through who they married. And it's just so normal for everybody in the family to have like their own sets of aunts and uncles who aren't necessarily blood related to other siblings. And we love the idea of our surrogate will kind of also be like an aunt, like to our child. And then if our surrogate has children, those children will become extended cousins. And that was important to us. And luckily, the person that chose us was like, that's what I want too. So it was just like, check, check.
Yeah, and then our first meeting, we're like, oh, it's like connecting with an old friend that we haven't seen since college.
There was a lot of crying.
Something of that nature.
There was a lot of crying.
And then it was just kind of like, wow. Again, this is obviously the right time, the right thing, and yeah, let's go. I think just going through, just even starting the process is when it kind of hit for me because, again, part of the process going back and forth about starting the family, we were like, what's going to be the best way? How do we want to approach it? And through our discussions, remember, we really weren't into adopting because we wanted to really have a child that was ours.
One of the biggest things for me, this is very personal, is I'm number 3 out of 4 children. He's an only child. Yeah. He no longer has his father, he has his mom, but his lineage stops at him. Like, he's the end. He's like the last stop. I have nieces and nephews who are carrying on my name. I really loved the idea if we were going to have at least one child and do one and done. We kind of loved the idea of biologically the child being his, because now we both are carrying on our lineage. So at the end of the day, it's kind of incredible that now as a duo, we both are our lineage is carrying on.
Yeah.
I think our society needs surrogacy as an option for people is because not everybody can get pregnant easily. And there's some people like ourselves, same-sex couples, biologically we can't have our own biological child. So surrogacy needs to exist because I think instinctively most people grow up wanting to be parents. And it's just not possible for some human beings, and that's where surrogacy is necessary.
I think one of the happiest surprises for us, or for me, is the fact that when we started the process, we were back and forth. Do we want a boy? Do we want a girl? What are we gonna choose when it comes to that time? And I think the happy surprise for me was the fact that the universe decided it was going to make the decision for us. And so it ended up that all of our embryos were female. So it's like, okay, we don't have to decide.
What he
this
said.
is how it's gonna be.
What he said is my answer. Yeah. I never think I wanted to tell anybody I really want a daughter.
Yeah.
I wanted a healthy child. But then when we had 5 perfect embryos that all happened to be female, I was like, oh, that's great.
One thing we don't have to worry about. I believe 100% that surrogates should be compensated. They're putting their body through something that is, on our favor.
I think the idea that you're able to have another human being go through the selfless act of delivering a child with their body for you, and it's something you could do with a transaction with money, blows my mind. Because like, I would think there'd be some other type of compensation, like you'd have to get them a very specific mansion in Rhode Island, and they'd have to get this type of car, and you have to donate one kidney from one person, and I can't. The fact, yes, I think that the idea of any surrogate doing it out of the kindness of their heart is the most beautiful thing I've ever heard.
Yeah.
But I absolutely would always assume that if you are going to be having a child for someone, there's going to be financial compensation, because the risks are too high, the lifestyle changes are out of control, and the torture you're putting your body through. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, and don't forget the emotional toll too.
If I was able to say one thing to a woman who is considering being a surrogate, I would say, like, you have no idea how much you're about to change this person's life. There's absolutely no way we would be dads without a surrogate. It wouldn't happen.
Just simply, thank you.